Yeah, I'm since a long time I'm following your videos and all those talks, those radical non-duality talks,
Oh, nice.
and there's a big resonance. Even I cannot, uh, how to say, I cannot use them in my daily life.
Yeah.
And that's the difference between all the other stuff I was following normally, and but I think that's also the liberation.
Yeah, yeah. That's also what is, right? It's just no matter what. Um, so what seems to be the story?
Yeah, yeah. There's a story. I could tell you a lot of stories, but I think there's a main thread in the story. I think there was always a spiritual search in my life. I grew up
Yeah.
like you in a very Catholic family,
Yeah.
and with seven children. So my parents were really, I think, more dogmatic than the Pope in a way, because they really had strong rules and uh, praying every day the rosary
Oh, same here. Yeah.
and all that stuff. I think you know that from your tradition,
Oh,
probably
yeah.
the same.
The
And
the moment October hit, it was double rosary prayers, right? One in school, one at home. And then six
yeah,
o'clock Angelus, right? You have to go
yeah,
back from wherever you're playing and you go to and then you start praying, Hail Mary, full of grace, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's interesting because the biggest wish of my mother was always that one of the boys should become a priest. No, that's
I was supposed to be the priest.
oh really you too.
there's there's four boys, right? I was supposed to be the priest.
Oh really you too. We also have four boys, and I was the last one, and the other three they were quite clear in their way they never would get to
Yeah.
this thing, and but I was the one who could not really feel and express what I was feeling. So
Yeah.
I followed the path. I studied Catholic theology,
Hmm.
but I didn't get a priest. I worked in church for 5 years
Oh, wow.
with pastoral youth work. And it was quite a good time because I had a great freedom there. I could do a lot of funny things with the teenagers. And so for me, it was a good time to start with that. But then after 5 years, I realized I never will get a place in the church. This is, and I
Yeah.
cannot sell this to the young people in order to that they get something better than they have
Yeah.
when they go to church. No? And but my task was to bring them to church. So and
Yeah.
but then I had a similar thing. I realized I got a quite strong connection to body work. I discovered the five rhythms. That's a movement practice where you dance
I
in
did that
a.
too, Gabriel Roth.
Yeah, you did that. Ah, you know her. Have
Yeah,
you ever
yeah.
met her? Or
No, I haven't. I haven't, but I did the five rhythm classes and everything. Yeah.
really in
Yeah.
Toronto? Or? Ah,
In
great.
Toronto. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Probably a
Yeah.
colleague of mine is teacher. Who was teaching there?
I can't really remember,
I
but
can
there
remember.
was this person that Kaufman. I can't remember her first name.
Ah, no,
Um
I. Well,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. She was actually in Vancouver. Yeah, so
Okay.
she was teaching. So I was really intrigued by it, and I also was into the Osho dynamic meditation, the
Yeah,
dancing and the shaking, and all that kind of stuff.
yeah.
And but I've always been a dancer, right? When I was a little kid, I was a dancer. My mom used to enter me in dance competitions, and I would win it.
Oh, great.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you got the music, the DJ music from dancing, or when you started to dance, you got let's say, connection to music, or
Well, when I was a little kid, my first toy was a record player. When I was
really?
about 2 years
Ah,
old, yeah, yeah. And I was
ah,
raised in a record store. My grandfather had a record store in a
uh-huh.
general store, right? And so I used to be the DJ, and I would sell the records. And so I really loved music ever since I was a little kid. Yeah.
Oh,
Even
great.
when I was in my this is my mom's story. In my mother's womb, she would wait for the end credits of a movie and then she would, she said I would be dancing around in the belly. Of course, that's just mythology, right?
It's a beautiful story, and
Story.
it's
It is, yeah.
I have a similar one. My childhood was very tough because my parents, they didn't have really a good connection, but were really in this dogmatic religious thing. But my mother was the manic depressive, bipolar.
Yeah.
So it was not easy for me. But the only thing that really I can remember that gave me a kind of feeling of joy and happiness was when I was sitting in front of the how do you call those, the disc player,
The
the
record player, yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it was in the 68. So I was, I think, 3, 4, 5 years old. And I was sitting there for hours watching the disc,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
the only discs we had were 12 or 10 discs from my father, vinyl disc with
yeah.
um, popular music, really crazy. But I got them so into myself, and still today I can remember this. So, and the rhythm and the music got into my blood, into my veins, and so
Yeah.
I had to work with that. And I discovered dancing and also a kind of DJing, not professional DJing like you do, but it's music is my world.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah,
medicine in a way. No,
yeah.
when I listen to music, it can change my mood from one moment to the other in a
Of
really
course, yeah, yeah,
way.
yeah. I,
So
I
I have,
would I would usually lock up the door and just dance if there was something that was bothering me. I would just dance for hours and hours, right? And
yeah,
yeah,
well, yeah, so you did break dance. I heard
I
some.
did break dance. I did hip hop dance. I also did a little bit of jazz dance and just a whole bunch of different stuff, right? Disco, uh,
Uh,
everything. Yeah. And
yeah,
then
so
I would go to clubs when I was in my 20s, and I would just dance from like, from like midnight to like 5 o'clock in the morning.
yeah,
Yeah.
I can imagine. Yeah, that was exactly my life too. It was I had a double life. I studied theology in during the day, and we really um, let's say a good boy. And
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
night,
yeah.
I went clubbing, and I really rocked out. I
Oh,
shake.
same here. I was the double life of the spiritual teacher. 1 o'clock hit, and like none of my students are going to be here because they have to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning to do my meditation classes. So I would dance and show up in a meditation class with like 1 or 2 hours sleep,
Wow.
doing namaste, namaste, and
And you never suffered on this, or on this
oh,
kind of,
there was a lot of suffering because there was a repression of all of the fun stuff that I used to do.
yeah.
I never really, although I was doing ecstatic dancing and everything like that, right? I thought that I had to purify everything that I did.
Mm-hmm.
There's something wrong, or I have to be purified, and all that kind of stuff. Meditation practices, lots of practices, and but there was also a seeing that everything was pointless,
Mm-hmm.
that it was meaningless, that there was a seeming kind of like a contradiction, because even with those practices of purification, there was a sense that there was nothing to be purified.
Mm-hmm.
But I was just going along with what seemingly everybody was doing, in the tradition or in the lineage, the scriptures. So I was trying to be a good boy, but there was this wild character at the same time that just wanted to dance and have fun. And
Mm-hmm.
there was no middle ground, so to speak, right? That's the training, I guess, wanting to be a priest or being positioned as a priest, that you have to be the good boy,
Mm-hmm.
the moral compass. You know what I'm saying? And but in my 20s, there was this struggle between being a good boy and being a party boy. Um,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so in towards my 30s, I became a spiritual teacher, 30s and 40s,
Mm-hmm.
and there was just there was suffering because I thought that there was an awakening that happened, And when you think that there's an awakening that happened, then you maintain it. There's a maintenance. So you do all of these practices. And when you
Yeah.
think that you've lost it, then there's something wrong that you're doing. So there's this misery and there's this suffering that you've lost something that was evident. So you try to get it back and forth. It's just the chasing around of
Yeah.
that stillness. Yeah. Because I found that, impeccable stillness where nothing is happening, but I made it into a story, seemingly, of course. Yeah.
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 It's in a way it's kind of similar when I listen to that. It reminds me to when I discovered, for example, the five rhythms. I had so many awakening feelings, especially
Yeah.
connected to my body. There was also always a rejection of my body, and then this field opened up so many wow moments, and I got really addicted kind of to them. So I thought I have to do a lot of classes, and I did the teacher career, and now I'm teaching it since 22 years. I've been teaching this. I'm still teaching, and but I'm realizing there's something changing. Not only since I'm listening to your messages, but also in general in my life, that it doesn't have any more that strong, let's say, how do you
Yeah.
say,
Yeah. The
there's not,
connection.
yeah, the connection is kind of losing, but it's also an irritation. Therefore, I want to connect with you also.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Of course.
there is some irritation in because my work, I'm a good salesman, let's say. I can
Yeah.
sell my work really good. I earn good money with it, and people are really happy when when they are coming to my classes and workshops, and
Yeah.
but there's always this kind of promising something that
Yeah.
can have a better, more fulfilled body and life, enriched life with this kind of practice, and it's and this gives me also kind of pressure. I'm feeling the pressure. Oh, I have
Yeah.
to really be somebody or bring somebody to the people
Yeah.
to get this, because and that's the second thing, they pay a lot of money, so there's also the pressure.
Oh,
They
yeah.
give me money, I have to give them something back in order to that
There's an
they,
exchange, supposed to be an
yeah,
exchange, right? Or
I
a
want to
promise,
fulfill their
a
expectations.
fulfillment. Yeah,
Yeah,
a fulfillment.
and
And
this is,
that's what this character did for 10 years or more, right? Because I was teaching meditation, I was teaching ecstatic dance, ecstatic yoga, everything that you could think of, right?
mm,
That's supposed to be liberation. But what was seemingly happening is there's this character that was not really liberated here, teaching liberation. So it
yeah,
was not, there was a disconnect because it was almost like faking it at one. There are some moments of joy, of course, and liberation, in dance, especially when you're jumping up and down and kind of like the Osho dynamic movements and everything, or when you're doing the five rhythms, there is.
yeah,
But what seemingly happens is that there is a promise of something.
mm-hmm,
There is a selling point of, well,
yeah,
if you take this course, if you take this teacher training, then you
mm-hmm,
will have liberation,
yeah,
right? So
yeah,
it creates a dangling carrot. But I have not done any teachings, for a long, long time, right? And there's liberation in that. The
mm-hmm,
offering that this is already complete, that this is already what is. and
mm-hmm,
and when it's seen through that, well, where there's no one seeing behind it, but when it's this directness, um that there's really no intention, there's really, even if it feels like there is a supposed intention or something, when there's this freeing of the seeming offering that is not being offered to anyone, there's just this wholeness to it, right? There's nothing wrong or right about teaching, five rhythms, especially it's fun, right? But when it becomes very serious and it becomes um, about the teaching, then
mm-hmm,
the liberation is boxed, it's contained.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
if you know what I'm talking about, right? Because I used to
yeah,
teach
and
ecstatic
yeah,
workshops, and and almost it's being forced, right? Rather than, towards the end, of me teaching, there was a looseness that people started experiencing this liberation because the structure was being broken down. In the beginning, I was teaching it with a lot of structures, like, the 5 rhythm, move this way and everything. And when it just became all about jumping up and down and screaming, and it just became anarchy, this is towards the end, right? And that's when the apparent seeing that, okay, this does not need to be thought.
Does not to be
It doesn't
thought.
need,
Yeah,
yeah.
you teach it.
Yeah, if you know what I mean, right? This does not even need to be solved, right? And so when maybe when I do kind of like an in-person, we'll just do some spontaneous dancing. It doesn't matter. There's no rules. If you don't want to, you don't want to. But there's no one doing it. There's no one trying to create this, create, so every teaching that there is almost like a codependency, that there's someone that is better. And then someone is trying to get to that state. But what's being expressed is not a state. It's just this naturalness, this directness that there, in the absence of words and teachings, there's no Andreas or Emerson. It's just this.
Yeah. The thing is, when you tell me this, there comes kind of imagination. How could I stand in front of my students without teaching, with a lot of fun and the energy. But it's also, again, there wants to be an Andreas who is providing that space, and there's
and there's nothing wrong or right about that. It's just what is, right? There's nothing wrong about teaching. It's just what is.
I mean, the wrong thing is that there is still this
or
me.
Right.
There is still this me who thinks,
but there's no you to be wrong or right.
The teachless teacher or something.
Yeah.
But there's still this imagination, and I'm always this is always the point when I'm listening to this message. It's so seductive to listen to the word, because I know there is a big relief. There is this wow in everything. It's really kind of when nothing is everything, and you and me don't really exist. It's just a play of, I don't know, of energy.
And it's the same as dance, right? So when I DJ, what I notice is that the moment that you maybe try about 10-15 minutes, but when there's a track that hits the dance floor, when the whole crowd gets into the dance floor, there's no DJ, there's no dancers, it's just the dance. If you know what I'm talking about. And that's the same with 5 rhythms, right? There might be some instructing in the beginning, but when it gets into that rhythmless rhythm, you know what I'm talking about, when everything is just this apparent appearance of this movement, it's just really stillness. It's stillness emanating this movement. It's stillness emanating this whatever seems to appear. And it doesn't have to, change. What I'm saying? It's just what is. The only thing that seems to be appearing as a situation, although it's not a situation, and that there is a seeming someone there. But what if that seeming someone is also not there? There's just a thought that is just there. So that thought of a teacher or someone doing it is just a thought. The idea that you're doing this is just an idea. And everything that you can think about that is seemingly kind of like, oh, I can't seem to teach. Well, if there is no one there, it's just what's happening. If you, for example, in whatever you're doing, and if you just, well, this is just a suggestion, and it's just a story as well, because there's no Andreas. If you delete Andreas from the situation, it's just what is, isn't it?
Yes. This is absolutely, can only be what is.
It's always what is, no matter what. Isn't it?
The thing is that there's always the temptation to, for example, my teacher Gabrielle, she called this what you told, when everybody is really full in the rhythm, and there's energy, anarchic
Yeah.
energy. So she called it
Yeah.
the zero zone. There's nothing. There's only
Yeah, the zero zone. Yeah.
but even with the zero zone, you can make a construct. You can make a concept. Oh, I can provide the zero zone for you. This is impossible.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's in every moment. It's like you
It's in
say.
every moment. So the way that it's seen here, right? There's no getting into the zero zone because it's always the zero zone,
Mhm.
no
Yeah,
matter what it is. There's not even a zone. There's not even a zero. It's just what
exactly.
is. Yeah.
Mm,
So there's this intimacy, there's directness, right, of what seems to be appearing. There's no trying to get to somewhere because it already is. Even the
mm,
trying to get to somewhere is what is. So it's
mhm,
always this infinite momentless moment that there's
mhm,
no moments anymore. There's no
mhm,
more rhythm, so to speak. It's just this stillness emanating as rhythm,
mhm,
appearing as whatever. And it's
mhm,
just this, how do I say it? It's wordless. It can't be instructed.
mhm,
Instructions might seem to happen, but what this is you can't say it in words.
mhm,
You can't instruct it. And that's why when the anarchy towards towards the end of my teaching, I was meditating and I would just walk around sometimes because I was like, this is pointless. But when the dance happened, when I was teaching this ecstatic movement, whatever, like workshops and everything towards the end, when I saw the anarchy of it, right? Just the chaos and the liberation from that, not having any control anymore, or not being trying to be the teacher and everything, then there was just this almost like a pointlessness to it.
mhm, mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I know that's hard for a teacher because they're like, well, to be a teacher is to make a point.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes it happens. For example, last week I had a kind of experience. I was dancing with in the class of my colleague, and there was kind of the zero zone were kind of existing, coming up. Everybody in his energy, especially my body. I was flipping around, and it
Yeah,
was
yeah.
fun. And then there came the thought, what if now the door would open and somebody would come in with a machine gun and kill the people? I
That's
had
dark.
just this idea, and I thought, okay, when it happens, it happens. Then
Yeah, yeah,
why should this be? Um, this is the same thing as it happens now. Or if somebody says this is all bullshit what you are doing, and or the music breaks down, and it would be the same. It would be in this moment I was kind of ready. Okay, everything happens
yeah,
as it happens to happen. I don't have any control. If it happens, then and it
yeah,
could be the worst in the most beautiful thing can happen the worst in the next moment. And why not? Why?
yeah.
There
Well,
was a
when it
kind of
seemed that there's actually no next moment, it's just this, then the idea about the next moment seemingly evaporates.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
the thinking that there is a next moment, or the thinking that you are doing this, creates this narrative or this fantasy that something's going to happen next. But what
Mhm,
if, you know what I'm saying? What if being suggested that this is only it? This is
mhm,
this is it, and there's no next, and the next is just a thought. And if you really want to look at flow, right, or that rhythmless, the zero thing, it's always zero.
mhm, mhm.
It's always zero because there's no getting to zero because it's always zero. Zero
Yeah.
doesn't have if it's zero, it doesn't have a succession or it's the infinite zero. Let's just say that, right? So
Mhm,
this apparent conversation doesn't have a future. It doesn't have a past. The future and the past is seemingly appearing as just words, as
mhm,
ideas. So if there's no future or past, what is seemingly appearing here is the wordless, infinite expression of something that cannot be expressed. So this is an illusion through and through, meaning that this is the zero appearing as a talk about dance or whatever, or next or whatever, but there's no next. And that's
mhm,
what is evident when there are no thoughts, there's no next. If you shut off all the thoughts, if you shut off all the words, all the idea, if we take away Andreas out of the situation, there's no next.
Yeah, the thing is, when the thought, I'm really a heady person. When the thoughts are so strong, I
But that's
cannot.
just a thought. That's not true. See, you're just coming up. The thought is just backing up a thought that I'm a heady person because it maintains the thought that I am here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it will come up with another
So,
one.
so there's
Go
only
ahead.
thoughts. There's only thoughts. There's words coming out.
Mhm.
There's playful character Emerson and Andreas, and there's
Yeah.
talking. There's here nature, and there is a room, or
Not
and
even that. Not even that. If you take away all the words, you will not be able to explain this.
yeah.
You're looking at, and I'm using words here. You're looking at the infinite unknown.
Mhm.
You're looking at paradise without an idea of what paradise is.
In a way, makes me really sad to to know that this is like this, and then I'm the thought is always I'm not in paradise. I have to do
Yeah,
something,
yeah.
and
But without the thoughts, right? Because the thoughts are not even real, right? There's not even, it's just a thought, meaning it's actually empty.
Mhm.
Then there's just this curiousness. What is this without thoughts? What is this without the influence of Andreas? Because Andreas is just a thought. It's just an idea, right?
Yeah.
Then it's not even it's you're not missing anything. You're looking right at it. You're looking at the emptiness. You're looking at the unknowable. You're talking to the emptiness. You're listening to the emptiness. You are without you, of course, is the emptiness.
Yeah.
Emptiness is looking at emptiness. Emptiness is crying at emptiness.
Yeah,
It does not
this
require words. It's beautiful.
and
Yeah.
it's unbelievable in a way that I cannot what makes me
But that
sad is this
it can,
always this futile attempt to get
yeah.
what you say, and it's not possible. I cannot get it in a way.
Yeah.
You
So if
from
it's not possible, why use words as a mechanism?
I
If
think
the words are all gone, then there's no nothing missing. You're just
why
chasing words.
or why I mean the words can be a play like now let's
Yeah.
do play out of it, but
Yeah.
yeah,
But
necessary.
if you mute everything, you know what I'm saying? If you take out the word, if you collapse all the words, all the sound, all the thoughts, everything that is blocking,
Mm.
you're looking at it without you, but it's this. You
Mhm.
can't even say it in words. It's just this, it's just this, wow. It's right here. Everything that you're looking for is right here. But
Mm.
not the words, because the words will say that it's here or not here or whatever, right? It blocks it. But if the words disappear, you're looking at it.
And this is so in a way it's so sad and it's so happiness in this because I cannot
It's not missing. Nothing
that
is missing. It's right here.
yeah
Yeah.
the incredible sadness is because I always was thinking there's something missing. I always have
Yeah.
something in a way that's
Yeah.
and
But
it's
if the thinking is missing, nothing is missing.
if the thinking is missing nothing
The thinking is not there, then nothing is missing.
yeah,
Yeah.
or even when the thinking comes back it's also an appearance like
That's also it. That's
that's
also it.
also it. Yeah, as you say,
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
I think this is one of my main thing when because there's always a thought coming up. Always, I cannot really
Mhm.
stop them.
Yeah,
But
yeah. But
then
that's just a thought.
they,
See, a thought is just
just,
coming. Yeah, a thought is coming up. A thought is coming up. A thought
yeah,
is to maintain a thought, to maintain a thought. But what if the thought is actually the emptiness that you're looking for? It's
yeah.
actually empty. It doesn't have anything in it. It's like clouds.
It's, it's so
Yeah,
unbelievable. It's so incredible in a way.
it
You know,
is.
it's, and And yeah,
it's
there's a truth in it. There's absolutely a truth in it. I cannot
yeah,
resist to the truth. It's this is
yeah.
even the thought come back and back and back, but there's
Yeah, yeah. But
just
that's also unconditional love appearing as thoughts.
yeah.
That's so beautiful, right? It's just this. I'm like, oh, that's it too. Oh my goodness. Every thought that will come up will be like, oh, that's it too. What? It's all. It's in everything.
Yeah, yeah.
Again,
It's
and the way to catch it, well, it's just this is just a play, right? To catch it is that all the movements are actually still. All the words are actually empty. All the sound is actually silent.
mm,
The sound is just echoes of silence.
mm, mm,
The movement is just, shadows of stillness. This display of light,
mm,
right? So everything is the same. But
mm,
when a thought comes in that it's not the same, then it creates this illusion that it's not the same. It's all emptiness, it's all stillness, it's all the wordless. It's what it's the unknowable. I can't even say the word because it's right here. Because the moment that you say a word about it, then you think about it, you go, like, no,
yeah,
it's this. It's
mm,
this. I don't know if you it's this unknowable presence without a source.
mm,
It's
mm,
this. It's this.
yeah,
I know you feel it without you. It's always
mm,
there.
mm, mm,
And that's
yeah,
why you love the dance, because the dance, when the seeming thoughts collapses, there's just this beautiful movements. And I
mm,
can get caught up in dancing for hours and hours and hours, right? Because I'm dancing with what is. What is dancing with what is. There's
mm,
no separation.
mm, mm,
This wordless is dancing.
mm,
It's so beautiful. And that's why I was attracted to dance, because I wanted to find that stillness in movement. But the movement is actually the stillness emanating in movement, in dance. The
mm,
sound is appearing, silence actually. So
yeah,
there's no separation whatsoever.
yeah, you,
Separation is just a thought.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It reminds me. I also wanted to catch the stillness in. There's even the fifth rhythm is stillness,
Yeah,
and, but this is the problem with the concept. Now, when you make a concept out of it, now we are in the stillness rhythm, and now you get. It's like the teachers who say now you are abiding awareness or something
it
like that.
is. It is.
It's the
Towards
same.
the end, and this is just really, towards the end of me teaching, there was actually a surge a little bit in popularity with the younger. I was teaching a lot of at risk youth. There was a surge because there was not much instructions anymore, right?
Uh-huh.
Because the teaching, like, I did not really believe in the five rhythms anymore, because it was like abiding and awareness and all that kind
Yeah,
of stuff like that.
yeah,
And my
yeah.
basis for my ecstatic movement was based from Osho's meditation dynamic movement. It was based from, the simple steps, the five rhythms. It was a combination of a whole bunch of stuff, breath work and everything. So it was really controlled in the beginning, and towards the end, when this character was falling apart, um, um, it was just a freedom movement. It was just
Yeah.
freedom movement, and there's no more instructions. And then, but the character was also falling apart, and
Mm.
it was beautiful. It was just really, really beautiful. I would be teaching in conferences, right, and I would really, really structure it. But the highlight of those is when it becomes unstructured.
Yeah. This
Yeah,
is
when it just becomes this 20 minute of just ecstatic whatever it is, right? Because
mm,
there was no more teacher.
yeah.
Yeah. But in the beginning, the initial thing, it was very structured. I would have all of this stuff, and I would have the talk, and there was just a disillusionment of what is. Kind of like what's being spoken about here. You don't
Yeah.
you don't need to catch the rhythm anymore. You don't need to catch the stillness, because the stillness is the rhythm.
Mm. Yeah, it's I can totally follow your thoughts or this words, and There's also
Yeah.
my teaching, it's less and less teaching, but there's still a big fear I could lose kind of control. And it would be absolute, the
Oh,
total
it
of
would.
control when
Oh, yeah,
I'm
yeah,
when I don't have any concept anymore of what
yeah,
I'm doing here right now. What's,
yeah. Well,
going
you know
on.
what, Andreas, no one's choosing to do that anyway. So the fear is just an idea that you lose out of control. It's already out of control.
Yeah, it's really wow, that's tough, no, to take it. It's already out of control. It's
Yeah, you think that this
wow,
is all in control, but really it's out of control. You know what I'm saying? And there's no denying it. You
yeah,
can't deny this beautiful
yeah, yeah,
anarchy, and there's no controlling this anarchy. Kind of like
yeah,
what you said, somebody could walk in and with a machine gun and everything. All right, that's
yeah,
anarchy. But
yeah. That's
again, without any thoughts, without any kind of like ideas, again, there's no one choosing to have thought or no thought because it's just a thought in the absence, in the directness of you, meaning that you're just a thought, you're just an idea. There's freedom in whatever seems to appear.
mhm.
When it's out of control, that's freedom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's absolutely. There's just a story that came up that shows that half a year ago I had a big heart operation. It was really a
Oh,
tough thing.
oh wow.
They had to open up the chest
Oh, ouch.
and operate a new
Valve stent.
aorta. Yeah, it's a big stand from the my aorta. What's the I don't know the name. The where the blood goes from the heart to the main canal
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, they had to, it was too big and they had to replace it. And it was, in the end, it was really a big miracle how it happened. But just a week before the operation, there was this puppy. She's right now here. She's the little dog.
Oh,
She's
what kind of
there.
puppy is it?
It's a mixture between border collie. Fiamma, komm her. Fiamma, come on.
Okay.
Yeah. Come on. Yeah, come. Yeah, she's a little.
Whereabouts are you, Andreas? Whereabouts are you? Which
What?
country? Which
Switzerland.
country?
Switzerland.
Switzerland.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Uh, I
Oh,
had there's a lot of beautiful stories in the last year. I had this where I'm living right now. It's we are living since 2 years, my wife and me here in
yeah.
this beautiful. It's part of Zurich, and
Oh, wow.
we are living in the nature.
Oh,
It's
look at that beautiful doggy. Look.
yeah, Chiama, yeah, and she just half
Oh,
a week before I was operated. She came. She was a really 4 weeks or 5 weeks old. No, not 2 months. I think it doesn't matter. But we went for a walk, and she came and she wanted us. That was so clear. That the owner had
oh,
four of them, and 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 I said, or my wife said, no, we cannot afford now a puppy because you will get operated and it's not possible. I have to take care of it. And I said, oh, it wants to be with us. And so,
oh,
and she was my actually she was my big after the operation. She was the one who healed me in a way that I had to go out
yeah,
every day with
yeah,
her,
yeah.
and she was so good for my healing. But that was totally, everything was not planned and out of order, and that she played this role. And two
If you,
weeks
yeah, if you want to see beautiful anarchy of what is, look at a dog, right? It's so beautiful.
yeah, it's
The unconditional love, and
yeah.
it's just beautiful. I
But
have a dog and I love my dog.
I know that you told me that, and I can
Yeah.
remember. I can also relate to what you said when your dog died, your former dog, or
Oh,
uh,
yeah.
you had so much grief. And this happened two weeks ago. She was she ate something really poisonal, and
Oh,
we had to
no.
bring her to the
To the vet.
hospital. And she was really, it was, the doctor said, I don't know if she can survive because the blood was already infected.
Oh no.
And I was grieving the whole day. It was kind of.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
But there was really a clear. I was ready. Okay, when life wants that she dies, I will accept. I will live with that. But
Yeah.
I could not avoid the
The
pain,
grief.
the grief, and it's still here.
Oh
It's still,
yeah.
and I never had such a deep grief in accepting this life can go away. It's not in my hands. It
Yeah.
can
That's
pass.
what I mean when there's no controller.
Yeah,
It's actually, you
exactly.
know what? It's when there's no controller, then grief happens, happiness happens,
Yeah,
dance
and it happens
happens.
unfiltered. It happens just
It's
bang.
unfiltered, yeah. And that's the freedom, that's the unconditional freedom. But also when it's seen that all of this movement is actually infinite, meaning that there's this infiniteness, nothing is going to change. There's
Mm,
all of these change happening, but there's also something that's not changing.
yeah.
And the thing that's changing is what you identify with, but the thing that you don't identify with is the infinite. Of course, it cannot be identified, but if that's what is, and this what is appears in everything. It appears in the eyes of your dogs, in the grief that you feel, in the taste of sweetness, and in the bitterness and the spice and everything. So
Mhm.
when there's this orchestra of everything that's actually nothing, then there's just this wow. There's just this kind of like this is just happening all on its own without Andreas's influence, because Andreas' influence is just a thought. It's just an idea. And then there's this liberation. So if Andreas wants to teach, 20 days of 5 rhythms and everything, or deconstruct it, no one's choosing it.
Yeah.
And then
Uh,
when there's this pressure off, when you're off the hook, so
yeah.
to speak, that you're
Yeah.
not doing any of this, then there's this contentment
Yeah.
that you can't do anything wrong, or you can't do anything right for that matter, but it's just life appearing as it is. And the normalcy, kind of like, what happened with your heart, it got so out of control, right? You're a healthy dancer, probably. How old are
Yeah.
you?
50, 58. Just 2 days
You look
ago, I
young.
turned
You look
50.
young. Yeah.
I'm
So
a
no
little
one, no
older
one,
than you. I think you are 51. Oh,
51. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
51.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's no one in control. The heart will whatever, and then it also miraculously healed. No
Mhm.
one controlled any of that. It's just what is.
Yeah.
Like your dog getting poisoned, there's no controlling that.
Absolutely. And this
Yeah.
is,
And
in a way,
somehow your dog is here, right?
yeah, it's here. And
Beautiful.
it's kind of like when you talk about the infinite, I cannot describe it. It's this mystery that's always there here.
Yeah. It's
And
infinitely here.
yeah,
You can't
infinite.
get rid of it. You can't
Yeah.
get rid of it. You can't get rid of
And
it.
you know what really makes me always when justice comes to me, it makes me so sad because realizing that I was always searching for this, and then I was
But it's
all
always this.
chasing it,
It's
and it was in front of my my eyes. It was, but
yes.
I could not see it, and I cannot see it because it's not like
You
the
can't see
story
it with
of
words. You're
Saint
seeing it
Thomas.
with words.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're
uh,
seeing it in thoughts, but without words and thoughts are blindness.
are blinders, uh,
Blindness, yeah. The
blindness. Yeah,
words blind what
yeah,
is, right? It makes
yeah,
it, whatever the
yeah.
thought about what is. But when the words are seen as just, transparent blindfolds.
But isn't it a kind of absurdity to use so many words in order
Of
to
course, but
how
there's no one
there's no
choosing to
word?
do any. Yeah, there's no one choosing to do any of these words, although all the words are made up, right? But it's
Yeah,
just what is.
yeah, yeah,
It's always it can never leave, right? This wordless, right? Because it's wordless. The only thing that can leave is a word.
mhm, mhm,
The only thing that can be found is a word,
mhm, mhm.
but you can't find words at the same times.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
It's empty. It's all empty. It's all really meaningless. There's no
Mm.
purpose to any of it.
Oh yeah.
It's already here. It's already done. It's already complete. Whatever you're longing for is this.
Mm.
This is the peace that you cannot grasp. Because if you grasp it, that is no longer peace. That's a piece of peace.
Yes, it is. Yeah. It's
It's in everything. It's in the air, it's in the feelings, it's in the rejection of it, it's in the seeing, it's in the not seeing, it's in the taste, it's in this, it's in every single strand of your hair, it's in every cell of your body, although there's no body and there's no cell, it's in everything that you breathe. It's everything.
and it's also in a trying to understand
That's
you.
also, yeah, yeah,
So even there cannot
yeah.
be an understanding of it, because if there would
No,
be an understanding,
then
uh,
that creates a separation.
the,
Yeah.
it's,
So it's not
and
understanding it. It's just what is being presented without any influence, without any interpretation, without any words, without any thoughts, without any recognition, without anything at all. When it's
yeah,
direct like this, there's no need to practice it. It's just this.
mm,
It's that gentle movement of the leaves behind you, the air. It's everything. It's the
mm,
whole picture, not a missing part of the picture. It's the whole picture. You're
mm.
looking at the whole picture.
It's- in a way, it's still I'm laughing because there's kind of wow, it's so obvious that it's like this, and it's
Yeah.
like you say, but and in
It's
this,
not for someone though. It's obvious for
it's
no one.
incredible that this system always looked for the whole picture somewhere else. It's in the well, yes, it's incredible.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. It is incredible because it's unthinkable. You can't think of it. When there's no thinking, because it can't be thought about,
Mm,
it's almost like, when you wake up in the morning and all of the dreams the night before disappears and it's just nothing. Nothing happened.
mm.
But it
And
felt real.
but there's also temptation. My teacher always said, the fastest way to still your mind is to move your body. But this is also kind of uh, concept, because when you say,
Yeah.
when the thinking disappears, because she said, yeah, the thinking can disappear when you move your body, when you get into the
But what's
dance.
wrong with the
So
thinking? See?
yeah, exactly. This is
Yeah.
because now it's when you say when the thinking disappears, so there can be an attempt to make the thinking
Yeah.
disappear
No,
also.
no, because the thinking is actually already not there.
It's only an let's
It's
say
an
an
apparition.
ah,
Yeah, it's just an illusion. So when you're trying to make the thinking disappear, then you're making the illusion real.
yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. This,
It's like clouds, right? If the clouds will keep on moving, but if you follow the cloud and you pay attention to the cloud, then you're not going to see the sky.
yeah,
But when you look at the cloud and the sky behind it, you're like, oh wow, you see the whole picture.
yeah, yeah. Oh, she's oh no, it's, my wife got my puppy ran away. I saw. Yeah, it's okay.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, I have a strong connection to her. I'm still, I'm realizing that she's not here anymore.
Yeah. The
Yeah,
puppy. What's
it's
the puppy's name?
Fiamma. Fiamma, it's an Italian name. We got her in the Italian part of Switzerland, and the owner called her Fiamma. That's flame, the flame, because she's
Oh, cool.
alive. She's full of dance and she loves to play all around. The most beautiful thing is we go to the forest near here, and I have a little ball, and she's running through the
Oh, cool.
those I think she never can get the ball there anymore because it's so much wood and stuff, and but
Oh,
she
yeah.
to jump, and
She
to
will do all, yeah, yeah,
she's doing all. And this is something that really touches my heart so much, that that there's a creature that she's doing all with me, or not everything, but there's so much a connection. I cannot tell. I never had this
yeah,
with a human being, and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I get so much. My heart is just melting down with her. It's
Yeah,
and
yeah,
this. And it's also a little bit. I think, whoa, this can be dangerous, because when my heart's melting, everything is kind of, whoa, so vulnerable. No?
yeah,
But this happens with her. I cannot avoid it. It's just happening.
yeah, yeah. There's no control of this, right?
Yeah,
And you know, with my puppy, right? Because there are no words. There are no words to create this division,
yeah,
right? When she's licking you, she's just licking you. She's just going, it's like in the morning at 5 o'clock in the morning or 4:30, it's licking you nonstop. I'm so excited to go out running with you, right?
yeah, yeah.
That's not
And
it. I'm putting words into it, but there's just this. It's just directness because
yeah,
there are no words.
yeah,
The
mm,
directness, in the absence of words and thoughts, is just phenomenal. You
yeah,
can't express it. It's just like this. Um, so when I talk to apparent characters, I don't see Andreas. I see the directness of what is speaking, seemingly
yeah,
about not seeing what is, but what is saying that I can't see the what is, but I'm like, but this is what is.
mm, mm,
This is the eternal.
mm,
This is the infinite without any identification of words or meanings and everything. It's already what is.
yeah,
It's already beautiful. It's already complete. There's nothing missing.
mm, mm,
The words will say that, but that's even what is. And the end, or however, it's also what is. It's just words appearing in
mm,
this. And
yeah,
what this is cannot really be expressed in words. It's just this. So there's emptiness everywhere,
mm, mm,
in everything, imagined or unimagined. It's just what is.
mm, yeah, yeah. Yeah, there's nothing really to add on to this. One last question I have.
Yeah,
Uh,
sure.
you have always the head on. I wonder always what's behind the head.
Nothing.
That's, okay, I accept it.
It's my third eye. It will stop everyone out when I take off my hat. It will just
Ah,
eliminate everything.
oh, whoa,
Joking.
whoa.
It's nothing. We'll keep it a mystery.
Okay, let's keep a mystery. I need. Yeah, it's so beautiful. I think life. What would be life without those mysteries? You never will get to know. Okay.
On my birthday last, on my 50th birthday, a couple of people that came here,
Yeah.
come listens to my talks, which are my friends, right? They listen to my talks and like 2-day events. They took me out for my birthday, but they gave me a hat for my birthday, like a birthday hat.
Uh-huh.
So of course it was a trick, right? I put it on, so they took off my hat, put on the other hat. They're like,
A good trick. Yeah, they made it.
I'm going to stop the recording. Well, thank you so